Hey there guys, it's Metro, and today we are back. Just a quick little video. I want to bring something up to hopefully raise awareness about this topic. I streamed for about 4.5 hours today, and it seems like a lot of people were not 100% sure what was happening with this upcoming patch, especially with the new resource Titan Residium. So I'm just going to tell you guys everything you need to know about this. I have a video already on the channel that explains, well, more so gave my opinion on the first announcement of it. That was back when Lore announced it, which was about 2 months ago, which was a great change if you ask me. But regardless, I'm going to tell you exactly what's happening here. I'm just going to read this out and hopefully elucidate some issues here. So immediately after the patch goes live, schedule maintenance in each region, so that once the reset happens, you'll now be able to target specific kinds of Azerite armor by earning Titan Residium, which can be used to purchase Azerite armor from everyone's favorite blah blah blah. So it's just a vendor, and the vendor is near the transmog people, okay? If you're not sure where that is, look into that. It's by the transmog in both Alliance and Horde, okay? In the weekly cache, you'll now receive an amount of Titan Residium in addition to your weekly item. So if you're not aware, they removed the chance to get Azerite gear from the cache, and now instead you will get Titan Residium. It's a resource, like a currency that's going to come every time you do a cache. So let's continue. Completing higher level keystones will award greater amounts of Titan Residium from your weekly cache. Scrapping or disenchanting new epic quality Azerite gear obtained in Tides of Vengeance from any source also provides Titan Residium, with more powerful items yielding more Residium. After the update goes live, your weekly cache will contain Titan Residium and will not have a chance to contain an Azerite piece. So that's it. We're never going to get Azerite gear from the cache again. I wasn't sure exactly how it was going to work, so that's significant information. I wasn't sure if this coming week would give credit to the previous patches weeks, or if it was only going to start working the following week, and then you would be building up for a whole nother week. So, as it says in bold here, we suggest you complete at least one Mythic Keystone dungeon before the update to make sure you earn Titan Residium when you open your cache after the update. That's why I did what I did on stream today, where I went through all 5 of my 120 characters and made sure they had a Keystone. That was very important to me. I want to try to get some of this gear, and we're going to show you why you want to do this too, okay? There isn't a cap on how much Titan Residium you can hold, and we do not plan to reset Titan Residium at start of Season 2. So this is very, very, very significant as well. When Season 2 begins, the vendor will offer higher item level pieces, starting at either 400 or 415 on top of the old ones, at significantly higher costs than Season 1 items. Also, at this time, the weekly Mythic Keystone cache will begin rewarding proportionally more Residium, and new item level 400 Azerite armor will yield more Residium when scrapped or disenchanted. So if you're not aware, once Season 2 begins, 400 item level Azerite is going to be the max that you can get from the emissaries. So that's actually pretty valuable, and we're going to take a look at comparisons in a second. But there's also something else that you want to be aware of here. Wait, there's not, oh, here we go. Here's the button. Somebody asked, let's read this comment. For clarity regarding completing higher keystones will award more amounts, blah, blah, blah. Is that also past 10, or does it cap at a certain level keystone? Kyvax responds, yes. Completing Mythic Keystones higher than 10 will yield more Residium for each additional level with diminishing returns. So we don't know exactly what these diminishing returns are going to look like. But this Wowhead post, both of which will be in the description, this does explain things at least best to their abilities. Obviously, not a lot of this is factual. Well, maybe about most of it is factual, but some things are guesses. So we are going to talk about this too. But be aware, 8.1 comes out on Tuesday in the US, Wednesday in Europe. There's going to be immediately from your cache from previous week, right, 8.0 week, you're going to get Titan Residium based on the credit that you would have received last week, okay? So if you have yet to do any 5-mans, or you're still not getting a 10 down on your main, go get a 10 down on your main. This is going to substantially increase the power that you're going to gain throughout the next few months. You do not want to miss this, okay? It's that important. But more so, you're also going to have this opportunity here, which we're going to talk about, okay? So hopefully, again, everybody's understanding what the Residium is and what its purpose is. But one of the things that people may not realize is that it's also adding additional incentives to getting Residium, to scrapping Azerite gear from other sources. So, for example, this is extremely targeted at Mythic Plus runners. And the reason was you basically could not guarantee that you would ever get Azerite gear from Mythic Plus cache. You can't coin the cache. There was no way to get it, right? You couldn't get it from completion. So almost zero chance you could ever get it. They said they have BLP or whatever, but it didn't seem to work. So this is what they're doing instead. But on top of this, they're also adding additional incentive to get other type of Azerite gear. So for example, anything 340 or higher is going to give Titan Residium when scrapped. Now, a lot of people have proposed that there is a finite number of Azerite gear that you can get weekly, and that is true, okay? And the problem is, I was originally thinking that 340, that being from zeros, Mythic plus zeros, where you can do 10 of those a week as well, they would actually be really worth doing. But realistically, you would have to probably get one from every dungeon, or at least get 10 for it to even be worth it. Because as you see, you only get one per scrapping at 340. And as you're gonna see, you need 675 to buy a specific 385 piece and 165 to buy a random piece. Now, that being said, you only need 15 to buy a 355 and 50 to buy a 370. Now, this is something that I do want to talk about in this video, because I think it's actually pretty valuable to buy 370 pieces on alts. If you completed 10, now this is another speculative thing here, but based on what has been said, you can read this article if you want, but based on what has been said, if it works the way they say it's going to work, Mythic 10 will provide well over 50, seemingly. Again, no confirmation until Tuesday, but for now, it does seem like, based on what they said, 50 would be the absolute minimum from a 10, okay? So if you complete a 10 on your alt this week, which is one of the easiest weeks out there, so heavily recommend trying to get a 10 done on your alt, you can automatically buy a 370 piece on top of the 380 piece you would have gotten in your cash. Extremely valuable. Even if you didn't, you could still do world quests for 355 gear and get 3, you know, throughout the week. You can do zeros and get 1. It should be extremely easy to buy a 370 piece this first week, okay? Regardless of what happens in the cash, however much you get, you should guarantee yourself at least one 370 piece next week. Now, is that the best choice? I don't know. Obviously, 385 is the highest you're going to get for about until January 22nd. So about 7 resets until then, depending on how you play with the holidays. Maybe that sounds like a good option. But for me, I don't really care about getting 385 pieces on alts. I would much rather get them geared up to the level that they can comfortably do 10s regardless of the affixes. And right now, that's not where I'm at with my alts. So if I had 370 pieces in every slot, that would feel like a win for me on my alts, because right now my alts are very much in a state where, you know, let's put it this way, my Death Knight had 370 in every slot for a very long time, and he was extremely powerful. So I would much rather have that baseline of Azerite gear. 370 is a little bit more accessible with the AP requirement as well for the traits. That seems like a good option to me. So I'm probably going to go ahead and buy random 370 Azerite pieces on my alts for quite a while. But I'm not going to do that on my main. On my main, instead, what I'm going to be doing is saving up, okay? And this is why. I'm going to tell you exactly why I'm going to be doing this. So again, 400 is going to be what you're going to get when the Emissary switches to Season 2. But very, very, very likely it's going to work like it does in Season 1, where you need to be like 397 to get the 400 piece, okay? So what do we want to do? Get to that level as soon as humanly possible. Best way we can possibly get to that level as soon as humanly possible, stack ourselves all the advantages possible to get a 400 to 415 item as soon as possible, okay? So we don't actually know how much they're going to cost, okay? But as I've read in the post before, you are going to get, it's going to be higher, okay? So currently a random 385 piece is 165. That's what's that? 75 more than the random 370, okay? So if that continues to extrapolate, we might actually see maybe 250 for this, okay? And then random this might be 350, something like that, like in the 300s, okay? Well, if you're getting, again, you know, think about what the possibilities are here. If, say, from a 15, you're getting maybe 85, okay? And then from the Emissary every week, you're getting usually at least 2 370s, and you get 12 more from those. And then maybe from the raid, you get 1 385, scrap that. You get maybe from Heroic, 2 more 370s, scrap that. And then maybe, you know, you did a 0 or something, I don't know, like it adds up is my point, right? You might be getting a couple hundred a week. So is it better to buy 385s that would be a marginal upgrade for 4 to 5 weeks on your main that's already kind of ahead of the gear curve? Or is it better to save up as much as you possibly can so you can get those 415 pieces as soon as possible? If they're not actually going to reset this, I think it's a no-brainer. I think anybody who's playing a character that's in the 380 item level range, playing it as your main very regularly, you should just not buy any Azerite gear until it actually comes out. And I wish I could amend the video I made, because realistically, I did not expect this to be the case. I never would have expected them to allow us to do this, but you want to get to the 400 threshold. You want to be getting, because, you know, this is very important, right? In case, again, you can't understand, you want to be getting 400 from the emissary as soon as possible, because now you're getting 115 per day. It's the emissary, you know? This is extremely important, and I hope it's clear. I hope you guys fully understand it. If not, let me know. But again, I would recommend for my alts, my sub 370 alts, I'm just going to be buying 370 gear for all 3 slots as soon as possible. Probably. We'll see how quick gearing is. If there's any other gearing things that I didn't account for, maybe that'll change my mind. But, you know, my shaman, let's rock. I'm just trying to get good 370 Azerite. I don't need to be greedy. I just want to get everything good enough that I can be doing 10s and then filling out the rest of the slots with 370, and then I'll be ready to go for season 2 to open. Okay, that's the way I'm going to play it. But on my main, of course, I'm going to be saving up, because I'm trying to get these from the Azerite cache as soon as possible, so I can start scrapping and getting 115, and then I'm going to start targeting specific 415s that I want, probably get random 415s as soon as possible, and that's what the future is going to look like for probably into the summer. I'd imagine we'll be looking at maybe late spring. There won't be any real changes, any new big stuff coming out for this system. So if anybody has any questions, let me know. This is a topic I'm very heavily interested in. I think they're going to end up being wrong on this, especially since we don't know exactly what it's going to look like with the plus 15 involved. You know, this is the number I'm getting to regularly, seeing 14s and 15s pretty comfortably now with the gear I have and the progression I have with Mythic Plus, even completely pugging. So I'm hoping to get, you know, maybe closer to 100 from a 15. We don't know what the diminishing returns are. As we talked about in this, he says there will be diminishing returns. So realistically, if it gave, say, 75 for a 10, what would it give for a 15? I would love for it to give 100, but I don't think that's going to happen. It'd probably be like maybe 85, like maybe 2 to 3 more per item level, or per higher level of the keystone. I don't know. But these are things to chew on. But regardless, PSA, go do a 10 on any character you plan on playing even remotely seriously next patch. You will want to get ahead on this topic, even if you plan on saving up all of your Azerite or all your Residium for 8.1's proper launch in December or January 22nd is what I'm trying to say. Season 2's proper launch. Even if you plan on waiting, you want to get that extra week head start. Don't slack on that. All right, thanks for watching. Have a good one. We'll see you guys in the next one.